Hello and welcome to another lovely talk at the Positive Future podcast at Pain Free. And today we have the lovely Juliana Werner, who's going to be talking about how connecting within is where it's all at, where healing is, and a lot more besides. So we met recently, a few months ago in London. We did an event together and we were both there and got chatting. I loved how she was talking about healing and health and things. So I invited her to this podcast. I'm so pleased she said yes. The journey back to the self. So Juliana, tell us about yourself. Who are you? Why did you do this? How did you get into what you're going to be talking about today?
So first, thank you for inviting me. It's my first time talking about my work in a podcast. So a bit, anxious about, a bit apprehensive. So thank you for also hold the space for this and to make me feel comfortable sharing about myself, my journey, and the work I do. I'm a body work practitioner. My focus of my work is massage, hands-on therapy, especially massage. And it's something that I love doing it. And I feel like my passion with touch came from a very, very early childhood experience, which was when I was born. I stayed in an incubator for about 10 days and, deprived from the touch, deprived from being held by my mom. And I think nowadays, thinking about my journey with massage and with movement, and especially with partner dancing, which was the focus for so long in my work, I feel like I went into that path to kind of heal that need that I had of touch. And I feel like this having someone touching me or touching people is something that kind of brings me back to my own body. So for me particularly, and for the people I work with, I feel like touching is so important, like it's such a big part of our lives, really. And unfortunately, I guess especially since COVID, we noticed that in a little bit more wide way how important it is to have this physical proximity, how important it is to have touch, to touch people, to hug people. And this is, a reflection of what we do. And yeah, I think that's my work actually came from this big need that I had myself of being held, of being touched, and to receive touch and to give touch as well.
And we're sentient creatures, aren't we? And I wonder that early experience that when we don't have what we need, we seek it.
Yeah.
It's like when people perhaps lose their mother and then they look for mother types in their world, or if they, God forbid, lose their children, or they look for ways to mother when they can't have children. I mean, I know I've seen that many times in my life, that the balance is always kind of called in. And yeah, I totally hear it. And we are sentient creatures. We need cuddles and touch when we're little. And so you grew up feeling aware of that you didn't have the touch, or when did you went for dance in a big part of your life, and when did you sort of realize the pattern that was going on here, that you didn't get touch in your first few days?
I'm not sure if this was in the awareness in the mind in the beginning. When I think about my journey with touch and with massage, for example, my first few memories is when I was about 4 years old. I used to go with my grandparents to physiotherapy sessions, and they had, the movement, and then after the movement session, they had a massage. So it's one of the memories that I have the clear about my childhood is the little me sitting in the corner, just looking at them receiving that massage. And then every time we went back home, I would say to them, both my granddad and my grandma, like, okay, now I'm going to give you a massage. So this was very present. And I think in a way was, that innate wisdom of the body, knowing that that was something that I needed. And since then, I started to develop kind of this relationship with touch and with body. Then, of course, you know, as a child, I was very creative with dancing. I remember seeing on the weekend, we would have like Sunday barbecues, like very traditional in Brazil. And we would have these barbecues, and at some point we would rehearse these choreographies and dance, me and my cousin. So the movement and the touch was something that was always very present. Then when I went to university, I graduated in something in Brazil is called physical education. It was like a broad spectrum of physical education, which would be here, I think, the equivalent would be health and sports. So it was really focused in the body. You know, all my development as a human being and as a professional comes from that side of the movement and the connection with the other and the touch with the other. And about 10 years ago, when I came to this country, I started to work with a workshop called The Art of Embrace, which was a proposition of developing the connection in the partner dance by understanding the dance as a communication, as a language. Yeah, so not only doing the steps and dancing together, but how the closeness of your body and my body were already communicating something. You know,
Yes.
so my whole work with dance from the last 10 years have been really focused in how do we touch each other, how do we hug, how do we embrace, especially in a partner dance. It's like you're very close together.
Yeah.
And you know, traditionally partner dances have this thing of man is the one leading and woman is the one following, as if there was no will from the follower, for example, in responding. So my work was a lot based, and still is in a way, based on this, how through the touch we are communicating to each other. And
Absolutely.
it's for like you said, is a sensorial thing. Like we are it's part of our senses, the basic senses, the smell, the taste, the sight, the hear, and the touch. So it's something that it's part of our development as human beings, this need of exploring the touch. And this is, I guess, now that I look back, I can relate that to my first experiencing of, you know, having this lack of touch for 10 days on my first 10 days of life. But I was already experiencing the touch in my bed, in my mom's belly. So it was the first sense that I developed. It's the first sense that we develop as humans, is that feeling of the touch from already inside the womb. So
It's full connection, isn't it? It's the full body connection experience to be inside our mothers. It's a full exchange of blood, of thought, of feeling, of physical. And then you pop out and have 10 days of detachment. You know, that must have been very shocking as a little baby. And of course, you know, most people don't remember ourselves when we're even 2 or 3 years old. But I remember one of my clients, she had severe knee problems, and connect. And what I teach is connect with the pain. And in the pain and problems is the story that created it. Something similar to yourself, isn't it? And her original experience was that she popped out of her mother and she was whisked away. And in that experience, I don't know how long it lasted, whether it was moments or an hour or a week, like yourself, 10 days. But in that initial experience, she understood that people can't be trusted. You got to do it yourself. And with knee problems, it's there were other things, but one of the things she was experiencing in her present adult life as a 50-year-old was that she was having difficulty getting clients in her business. A very clever girl, perfectly able. Underneath all of that was the core that people couldn't be trusted. You got to do it yourself. And when she realized that, you know, everything changed, and you took a path through actively learning about connection and dance and the communication. It's so important, isn't it? It's so important. And in England, we don't tend to do these contact things, experiences in our in generally in the UK. And I know, I started salsa, which is very similar to folk dancing. You mentioned in your pre-words for this talk. And it took me about at least a year, maybe 2 years, to relax my hips, to allow myself to be close to another person, a man. And I had to train myself. One of my teachers was Brazilian. Two of my teachers actually were Brazilian. And I thought, how does he do that? All that wriggly movement, and I thought this is so alien to English, or to me anyway. It took me a long time to unbuckle, but it is a communication so beautiful and it's elevating. So where did that take you? So you on this path of dancing and understanding about the communication, and how did you understand that that was healing and going within? How did all that come about? That
Well, I think the first thing that I've realized in this connection of being together with someone else, my work, especially in my work with dance, previous to that, I did other dance modalities like contact improvisation, for example, which is a dance that it's a dance based on contact. Different than a partner dance, you don't have the steps, but it's a dance that is based on the contact and understanding what the other person is communicating to you through the body. And this that you've mentioned about your own experience with salsa, I think this is one of the things that stayed very strongly with me, which was how much we say with our bodies, how much of our experiences, even the ones we don't remember, they are all here. There's
yes.
this author that I really like, Bessel van der Kolk, Bessel van der Kolk, yeah, Bessel van der Kolk, and he has this book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh yes, yes, I've seen that one.
Which is a brilliant book in my opinion, and he talks about how all these memories, they get stored in the body, like traumas or difficulties or challenges, and also the joyful moments. But for me, it was really interesting to realize this connection of how much of also our beliefs is in our body language, you know.
Everything, everything, isn't it? Through your sound of your voice to the movement you make, to everything, isn't it? It's all stored in the body, and
Yeah,
it comes out in your behavior, in your decisions, in physical symptoms, in
definitely.
in every way, isn't it? So
Yeah.
how do you go about? Does somebody come to you and then you start dancing with them or massaging them, or what's the journey as you take people through, and where do you take them?
So I like to think
Journey.
that this journey that we do is a journey back to ourselves. So even when you're dancing with someone, for example, you are dancing, you're creating that moment of that dance together, but you are in your own body and you have with you all the story of this body, all the pains, all the sorrows, all the joy, all the everything you already experienced in your life. So when you connect with the other person, you come from that place of all that luggage that comes with you. And we're then sharing that moment and learning things about ourselves as well. My work with dance right now is a little bit more of like a secondary job, a secondary work. My focus
You,
at the moment is more my practice with my hands-on therapy.
you're still dancing then, still.
I do still dancing. I still do mainly retreats. Like my work with dance at the moment is not a regular thing. It's more like in a festival or in retreats or spaces where people are seeing the movement as a potential tool for healing, which is the same that I see, like um, how can we access all these memories that sometimes we don't even have the memory in the head, but we have the memory of these things that we experience in our bodies. So I think this kind of, in the beginning, when I started working with dance, I didn't used to see the healing potential as much as I see now. Now, after 10 years working with this, the Art of Embrace, which is this project that I have, understanding the connection and the dance as a communication, is how can we learn about ourselves when we are in this relationship with the other? Or how much can we explore? How much can we heal? How much can we change? Because the dance is also, and as you mentioned your own experience in the beginning, there's so many layers, so many walls that we put, like socially, culturally. So in the moment we break these walls, we break these barriers, we can actually feel our bodies and feel the magic, what I think about the being in contact. And it's one of the most beautiful things for me about the massage is how much can I feel, can I realize about my own body through that contact? If whoever received the massage already, you know what I'm talking about. When you go to the massage therapist and you say, look, I have this pain here, and then suddenly the person starts to massage you, and you feel like, oh, I didn't know about this pain here on this other
Yeah,
place. Oh, I didn't know this muscle was so tight. So it's in this relationship with the other that you can actually learn a lot about yourself, about the
absolutely.
areas where you have room for improvement. And then not only in the physical level, but also like I have this example of someone that it was almost like my case study. Like when I first met him, he was a very shy person, and he first came for my workshop, The Art of Embrace. And he was really like, he was even afraid to invite someone to dance because the person could say no. And he had this kind of, very retracted posture. He was like going, but he couldn't quite go completely. And I met him a few months back, and I couldn't believe he was the same person because we didn't see
Wow.
each other for many years. And I saw
Yes.
him standing at the bar with his drink, and I knew it was him, but his body language had changed completely,
Wow.
completely. So then I went and I said hi, and he said, oh, I can't believe it's you. It's been so long. I was talking about your workshops the other day, how I first started dancing, having this idea that dance is communication, and how much he then could change his attitude in life by accessing this through the body.
Yeah.
So he comes to a partner dance very shy, very not sure about himself, and then suddenly as he becomes more comfortable and more confident within his body, he then takes this for life. So
Beautiful, beautiful. Because we do get stuck in the body. I mean, I've seen it so many times. And when I spent 30 years doing hands-on body work like yourself. And where there's a lump and a bump and a muscle and a tightness in a joint, it's not just the body, it's the physical, emotional, mental experience of the person. Maybe they've got lots of lumps and tightness in the shoulder. Well, it's all about responsibility and whatever it is that you're holding in your body, it's in the body. The body holds it for whatever reason.
yeah.
Or we hold something and it reflects in the physical body. I remember doing a class of looking into bioenergetics at one stage. Have you heard of that one?
Mhm.
About movement and again being English, my personality is to float and be free and flow, but being English, it's very constrained kind of experience. And I remember going to this and it was all very weird. You have to be and they said be an animal, moving across the room, and there was a whole group of us, and then we had to be like a large box, and I thought that's weird. And then we had to be a small box, and then we had to be a tiny creature, and then we have to move in all different ways. And it just opens up your body like massage, like dance. And things can get really, really stuck. There was one of my clients was a 40-year-old lady, and she came into the clinic and she looked like a 12-year-old girl. And I thought, I always sort of start thinking when I meet someone, like, what does she want? What's going on with that one? And I thought, is that anorexia? No, it's something different. Something, it looks like anorexia. And she's got all the bum fluff on her arm and very skinny. And I thought, no, no, it's something else. And it turned out that when she was 12 years old, her mother died, and she wasn't allowed to, probably to protect her. She was a child. She didn't understand what happened. She didn't say goodbye to the dead body or to her mother. She didn't, she was taken away from the funeral. She was stuck. She'd lost her darling mother. She'd lost her mother, and she was stuck in at 12 years old. And she had developed cancer and all this black energy. She had very dark energy. But even if it gets to that severe point where we hold things inside, I find that life calls you back to just gently life will keep offering you the opportunity for release, like meeting someone like you to help someone release whatever it is. And you might not even know that you're holding anything.
And I guess most of us are not really aware. You know, unfortunately, when I think about the way our societies have been developing, it's like more and more we disconnect from the whole, more and more we are separated, more and more we are sitting in front of our computers working the whole day. So we are not really into our bodies anymore, you know, and I feel
Really.
like you've mentioned the cancer and all these things is like, from my perspective, this is the body talking to you. Is when it gets to a point when the body says, you know what, wait a minute, we need to review a few things here. So I know that you have an approach very similar to that in your work, that you know all the things that we experience, all the tightness, all the pain, all the illness is the body trying to tell you that you are not on your path. You know, there's this
Oh
author
yeah.
I really like called Gabor Mate, and he
Yeah.
talks about trauma and how trauma affects the body. And he has this book called When the Body Says No, which is a brilliant reading. And he talks about exactly this, you know, like how most of us, when we develop autoimmune diseases or things like cancer, is our body actually saying to us, no, we're not going to keep doing like this anymore. We are not happy with this. And, you know, going back to this idea of the holistic view, which is a little bit of the approach I have with my work, or I would say a lot of the approach I have with my work, we are not a body and we are not a mind. We are not a spirit. We are a spirit and we are a mind, and everything is interconnected. So
Absolutely.
we can't treat one thing only. We can't think about a symptom as, you know, just a symptom of some, it's your body communicating to you. So
Absolutely.
we do have to take in consideration that we are living in this life and we're experiencing things the way we are these days. But if you think about our ancestors, you know, they had much more touch, they had much more community, their life depended on each other. You know, you couldn't be individualist, you couldn't stay in your own cage, you had to work together. And I think lots of things, you know, we might have gained a lot with these modern societies and the way we live life these days, but at the same time I think we step very, very far from our bodies. And
Definitely.
the the work I do, and I guess the work you do as well, in a way, is this invitation for us to go back to ourselves. You
Yeah.
know, Gabor says that, it's a beautiful quote from him, that he says there's part of us that loves us so much that we want us to be back to wholeness. So
Yes.
we are here to be whole. We are here to be in this space of living our lives with fulfillment, yeah, actually feeling everything we have to feel, not numb when the feelings are not that pleasant to be felt. It's like, no, we do need to feel, because it
Yes.
doesn't matter if it's anger, if it's grief, if it's sadness, if it, whatever the feeling comes, it doesn't comes only here, it comes in our whole bodies. And this is also a
Absolutely.
reflection of how we are relating to people. It doesn't affect our own, only our own life, affects our relationships, affects our partners, affects our kids, affects our families. So I really like to think that, you know, when we have these uncomfortable, unpleasant feelings or unpleasant situations, we shouldn't try to suppress them straight away. We shouldn't try to take a painkiller to make the feeling go away because it's not pleasant to feel. No, let's sit with it. Let's learn how to understand, how to connect with that feeling and think, maybe even ask to the body. Like this morning, my stepdaughter, she was not feeling very well on her tummy. And I asked her, I said, do you know that the body is always talking to us, and this is your body talking to you? And she said, yeah, I know. I said, what do you think it might be? I don't know. I said, let's ask the body then. And we don't have this anymore. We lost a bit this connection that we had, I guess, in our ancestors, and probably the First Nations, the indigenous people still have this very strong, that awareness that everything is interconnected, that everything is there for a reason. Oh, it's not like, oh no, I don't like this beach, let's put it aside. No, it's also part of being in this human experience.
Yes, all parts. And it's and to this in this Western world, um, we have I notice a lot of people come to me, they're often in transition from, you know, the way that we're indoctrinated in the Western world is that you have a symptom, there's something wrong with you, something wrong with your body. You need to get rid of it as soon as possible with medication or operations. But it misses the entire message of what's the whole picture here. You're not just a physical condition. As you say, your feelings, your emotions, your mind, your whole soul, your spirit, and it all works as one. So to think that you can just get rid of something, I think is a massive mistake. And you're asking for trouble. You're not listening. So the only option is that that message will get louder and life will give you more opportunity. And a lot of people who come to me, I specialize in long-term chronic pain, but by that time, it is developed into perhaps lots of things. Not only does this person have anxiety now they have physical pain and aches and problems. Maybe they have stress in themselves about the world or their family, or it's multi-layered, lots of messages, lots of signals calling you back to your soul, calling you back to your path, your whole, as you say. And you know, when people start to learn, actually, it's a calling back to bring you back to your path. And it's in that journey that you will learn so much about yourself, about your body, about whatever it is that you're suffering. You learn to love yourself, actually, coming back to your path.
And I
What
think that's one of the main problems, is that most of us, if not all of us, we grow up with, yes, we love, but love is something that we give to other people. So growing up as a woman in Brazil, this was very strong, you know, you never really prioritize yourself. No,
oh,
you have to be there for everyone else, but you're not there for yourself. And I feel like this lack of self-love, of the love that you're directing to ourselves, it's a big thing, you know. It's probably where is the start of everything, or all our
I think so.
challenges. You know, something
Yeah.
that I struggled for many years was a disconnection with my gut feelings. And it's an interesting thing, because now when I look back about, you know, my first days of life, I was in an incubator because I had pneumonia when I was born. So I received antibiotics very early. I was like few hours on the out world, and I was already receiving antibiotics, which in a way messed with my guts.
Yeah.
So it messed, you know, when you say about gut feelings, it's really, your intuition comes from your guts. And your
Yes.
guts are connected to your brain through your vagus nerve, which is something that, you know, most of us, we don't hear about vagus nerve. We don't learn this kind of thing in school. Most of the serotonin levels, most of the levels of serotonin, when they're released in the guts more than in the brain. You know, thinking about, for example, mental health, which is something so big these days, It's like, and then we keep taking antidepressant, but you're not really thinking, okay, what's going on with my guts? How can I help my guts to regulate?
Yeah.
And then go back to this intuition, because we were given this as a gift to know
Yeah, I think
this is
so.
good for you. You know, when you have a good feeling about something, sometimes you have a very strong feeling of I shouldn't do this, or I shouldn't, you know, and this is,
Yeah.
it's from the intuition. But again, I think this separation and the way we feed ourselves these days, the food we eat, the medication we take, all these things are kind of suppressing all these gut feelings. So we are not really in touch with our intuition. And it all comes from the lack of self-love. Because if you love yourself enough, you're not going to just eat whatever because it's faster. You're going to
Yes.
actually worry about cooking yourself a good meal with, you know, nutritious elements so your body can be full of life.
Yeah. And sometimes it's very challenging, isn't it? Because like for you, you were born into the situation and this is the experience was put upon you. There it is. Didn't have much choice. And it can be from challenges from repercussions from operations. It can be past trauma. It can be lack of love in some way. There are many ways that we can be traumatized as children, as adults. And that lack of love is what I see is that when somebody is suffering something, I think about it a lot, you know, because it's my world and I work with people, helping them release pain. I think about it a lot and observe it a lot that what's really going on there, you know, it seems to be exactly that. It's the separation of love, especially from the mother and father. And it seems to be a core thing. Like when people have challenging pain or experiences or body symptoms, what's the root of it? You know, we miss the whole thing if we don't engage into it, if we don't connect with it through massage, through dance, or multiple other ways. That if we don't connect with the messages, the what we're experiencing as information, we can never get there. And but sometimes it's very, very challenging. If it is a very challenging experience, it can be really, maybe you've gone through trauma or some kind of disruption to your life in some sense, or an operation. How is it possible to work through these very alienating experiences or traumatic experiences? Is it possible? Do people have to live in pain for the rest of their lives? What do you think about that? Is it a case of just chipping away, just gradually working with it? Have you seen?
I believe that all this, like when you think about, when you ask about, is it possible for people to live in pain their whole life? I think it's always our choice. You know, I think the pain, like the discomfort, like the illnesses, like they all come as messengers. They all come to tell us, look, there's something here that needs a little more love. This is my deepest belief, you know, that everything goes back to love.
So gentle, so simple, so
And
powerful.
and especially this love with yourself, you know. So for example, if you think about most of us who worked in an 8, 9 hours inside an office, who don't have the time to cook their own food, who have to take in drink energy drinks to kind of keep the energy up. Or for example, for us women, we are cyclical. You know, we don't perform the same every day of the month. But we are not connected to this. We don't give ourselves that time before our moon coming, like, no, now I'm going to have some time for myself. It's my winter. I'm going to see what my body needs. No, we are constantly in this
In
production
demand,
mode.
production.
So I do believe that, you know, if we ignore the messengers, yes, they will keep talking to us, and they, like you said, they will start shouting, because sometimes it's like something starts on your shoulder and you think, oh, never mind, it's not that bad. You keep pushing because, you know, you need to pay the bills, you need to live your life, and things are in the production mode these days. So we can't really, or we can't is a strong word, but we, most of the times we choose not to give attention to that because other things are more important. But the other day I read something that it was really, it stayed with me really strongly, which is, if you don't make time for your health, you will have to make time for your sickness. Because
Mm,
sometimes we have this of, oh yes, I would love to exercise, but I don't have the time. I would love to go for a massage, but I don't have the time. I would love to go dancing, but I don't have the time. And then you get sick, and then you can't work, and you can't go anywhere, and you can't do anything because your body will force you to stop. And
yes.
I want to see that, and I would like to maybe, you know, help people to think about in their own cases, like how is that? It's not really a bad thing to feel pain. Of course, a prolonged time of pain, nobody likes it. It's not good, but that pain is there for a reason. So everything
Right.
that comes in our bodies, everything that we feel, all the emotions, they are telling us something. If we ignore it, it's like a child. You know, if your child is trying to talk to you and you don't give attention straight away,
I've got to go.
soon they will be shouting in your ears. And it's the same with the body. It's the same with pain, it's the same with illness, it's the same with whatever sickness you're struggling with. You know,
Exactly.
so I believe that it's all in our power. If you do choose yourself, if you do prioritize yourself, if you do give this love that we give to everyone else, if you give that to yourself, you will be able to make choices that serve you better.
Yeah.
You know, you will be
Sometimes.
able to
Mm,
address what that messenger is telling you. Like in my case with my guts, I had to go through so many different diets. I was vegetarian, and then I was carnivore, and then I ate Ayurveda, more Ayurveda kind of stuff. So it's so many things until I found what my body needs, you know. And
and that's the learning, isn't it? To go
yeah,
through life and figuring out what works, what doesn't work, what's the issue here, how can you help yourself? Find out that path and let yourself explore and discover what works for you
yeah.
is a
And
big
it's
part of it as
different
well.
because what might be a great thing for you might not work for me. You know, it's something that I guess we also forget as a society is that we are individuals, we are unique, singular individuals. So yes, we do have the same number of bones in our bodies, the same muscles, but what works for you doesn't work for me. Your body needs more of one thing, my body might need something else. But there are things that are important and we all need, you know, putting our bare foot in the grass once in a while, you know, looking at the sun, observing the circadian rhythms, having good food, raw, like food, whole foods, foods coming from the earth, you know,
Yeah,
not packaging foods, not processed food, not highly sugar content food. So we all have things that are basic to us as human beings. And one of them, going back to the touch, is this connection, is the need
yeah,
for belonging, is the need for feeling bonded with another person. So, you know, if we love ourselves enough and if we listen to our bodies, I think it's a beautiful journey that can unfold. But of
yeah.
course, if we keep choosing the same things that everyone else is doing because we grow up, we go to school, and we all kind of have this mentality that we need to fit the box. No, we can't fit the
We
boxes
can't.
because we're
We're unique.
different.
We're
We're
different.
unique. Yeah.
And I'm just going to open up to we're going to open up to questions from viewers in a moment. But Juliana, I wanted to ask you, could you talk about somebody specific that you've taken through this journey, either through the massage and what happened for them, or perhaps through the dance, through your art of embrace dance work that you do. Could you talk about somebody, an example of, or explain, what's the journey when people come and get in contact with you, get in touch with you, what would be the therapeutic journey that you take them on? Do you have somebody in mind like that, or could you talk about the journey if somebody came to you? What sort of
Nothing
symptoms?
specifically comes to mind, but what I like to think about this journey that I invite people to take with me is, and then talking about in general how I do my work and how people have been connecting and why the people connect with what I do, is that I think it comes from this love, reminding them of the love for themselves, reminding them of how important it is to just sometimes, just stop and to take a deep breath and actually feel in the body what the body is feeling. So when people come to see me, normally they come because of pain. It's like it gets to
Okay.
the point where they don't know what to do anymore, and then they come to have a massage.
So it's usually pain, some form of pain, people. That's your
But
typical.
most of the times, I think I have maybe two or three people on my years of massage that came to me because they are an active people who are wanting to have, I don't know, improvement on lymphatic system or things like that. But most people I see, they come to me first because they're in pain. And I like to
All,
think
all,
about this relationship that I have with my clients as a journey that we take together. So,
it is a give and receive, isn't it? It's never just the give. And I remember when I started my massage profession that I noticed pretty quickly there's two kinds of treatments of massage. One's you go to relax or for sports deep tissue or beauty, you just want to relax with nice oils like aromatherapy or something, or just to unbuckle some shoulders or de-stress. But it's very, very different to therapeutic massage, which is all about going within. It's the journey, your journey of your thoughts, of your emotions going into your, as you have the treatment, you go through a journey of into yourself, really.
yeah,
And so there's two very different kinds of uh, massage treatments. So they're always pain people that come to you.
the first contact, 99% of the times, is because people are in pain and they don't know what to do,
Okay.
So, of course, I've seen many people that they came once the pain is gone, they don't come anymore. But what I try to engage from the beginning is this idea of empowerment. Yes, I can see people if they feel like they feel pain, they need to have a massage. Of course, I will do my best to accommodate and to make them feel a little bit more comfortable with that pain. But my work is mainly focused on, you know, this pain that it builds up with time most of the times. So it's not like a magical touch that you're gonna come here and then suddenly you don't have any. Healing is a journey.
Healing is a journey. That's it. It's not usual. I mean, sometimes I have had people who come to me with serious pain conditions, and the pain just goes like that. But it's still um, there might be some moments of that, but it's a journey, isn't it? By the time you're in chronic pain, for whatever reason, your emotions are involved, your physical body's all, might have a lot of stress hormones in there, or your whole life is revolving around the experience you've been having for however long it's been. It takes time to go from, you can't move a mountain. You got to do it bit by bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Um,
And
it's a journey.
what I try to do with my work and my main intention is to empower people to be in their own bodies and to feel what they need to feel and to choose what's best for them. So, for example, if you come to me for a session, even if you don't have any pain, there's always imbalances in the body.
Yeah.
Because of repetitive movement that we all do, sitting in front of a computer, whatever is the work we do, most of us, we have repetitive movement in our activities. So you will have tightness, you will have, sometimes discomfort. So it's not only a massage, the massage will not fix things. The massage is just one tool to help people to understand how they feel in their body. And then another thing that I bring very often, and it's for me really important, is the relationship with nervous system. The breathing. Most times when I say to people, take a deep breath, they do. So like the shoulders shouldn't be really involved in that breathing.
Yeah.
Most of us, we unlearn how to breathe properly. So in the journey that I invite people to take with me, it's a journey of relearning. So learn how to move their bodies. And then to move their bodies doesn't mean that you have to go to the gym for 1 hour every day. Because I know everyone has busy lives and we have so many things to deal with in our lives. It's like you don't want to add one more stress to yourself. But sometimes moving every day will mean 5 minutes of stretch in the morning. Will be doing some squats between your hours of work and in the office. Will be brushing your teeth standing in one foot to make your feet, your ankle joints stronger. It's one of the reasons why elderly people have it's the biggest problem is that they have a fall and then soon after they pass. So it's like we don't really think about those things when we are young, but we want to have an active and a full life to the end. I guess no one wants to be bedbound for 20 years before they pass. So
Absolutely.
my idea is with my work and my focus with my work is to wake people for these things, like how important it is to do the little small choices every day, like to move your body however that feels good to you. It might be doing a dance class, it might be going for a walk with your dog, it might be, I bought myself a mini trampoline and it's amazing because every morning I start my day doing 5 minutes jumping in a trampoline. And, assist your lymphatic system, which is the system that it's clearing all the toxins from your body. And so we need these things. This worked for me, might not work for everyone, but for me, not only the physical movement, but the joy of being jumping reminds me, reconnects me so much with my childhood, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like finding what works for you, but be aware, where is your breathing? Are you breathing here on your chest, or are you actually feeling your breathing go all the way? Can you expand your belly when you breathe? Can you create that space for your diaphragm to lower down, to actually have a better capacity on your lungs, like to bring more oxygen to your cells? Because this is how your body will be nourished,
Simple things.
with good
Yes.
food, with movement, with avoiding the things that are bad for you, really, like making the choices that will help you to have a better life, that will bring you back to this body, because in the end, this is where we experience everything we experience. Yeah,
It's where we are. I can't
yeah,
get another one. And can I
exactly.
ask people to ask questions? If you have any questions for Juliana, please do say. If you type them into the chat box, or if you want to unmute, just to let you know that if you talk, then you'll be on the recording. But you can always you're welcome to do that. Or if you want to write your questions in the chat box for Juliana, we are going to finish on the hour, so we have a few minutes. And if you're feeling called to what Juliana's talking about, please do get in contact. The recording will be available tomorrow, so you'll be able to look through this, and all the contact, how to get in contact with Juliana will be there with her website and her email, so you can have a chat to take things further. And Juliana, you've got a website, so how do you while we're waiting for questions, if you'd like to ask questions, everybody, um, how do you work with people? So do you offer um, massage? So they come to you for a massage treatment for all the things you're talking about, or do you offer the art of embrace as a separate thing, or do you suggest to them when they get in contact with you, you do you suggest one thing over another, or is there other things that you do too?
So at the moment, I'm mainly working from my studio, which is this place where I am now. Uh,
Where are you? Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Isleworth.
As a word.
Yeah, it's Isleworth. It's a very peaceful place here.
And you look so peaceful in your beautiful light, and you look so serene and gentle. All these beautiful things around you.
Yeah,
Lovely
I like to
environment.
have, especially my plants. I feel like I feel so much when I'm not in contact with nature. It feels like something is missing, and it's, you know, something that from my years in graduation, I remember there was one teacher that used to say always like, because us and nature, and that was always something that stayed with me. Is like we are nature, you
Yeah,
know. So like there's no us and nature. We are
yeah.
nature. So if we are not connected to nature, to for me it's like to go for my barefoot walk, to have my plants around, it's something that really brings me a lot of peace. And yeah, but your question was about the work. So
Yeah,
the art
so
of embrace is a workshop that facilitate, mainly focus on connection. Yeah, so understanding in partner dancing. On my studio, what I do is I work in this journey, the journey back to the self, where yes, people will come here and they will explain to me what they are looking for, and we're gonna embark on this journey together. That it's focused on hands-on therapy. So the biggest part of my work in the journey back of this to the self is the hands-on therapy, which is, even though I have an holistic approach, I tend to work with a bit more deeper technique in massage. So I wouldn't say I do only sports massage or only deep tissue massage, but most of holistic treatments that I've received, they had something of very soft and gentle. And yes, sometimes we will have a work that is more soft and gentle, depending if you are focusing in having a more lymphatic work drainage done, or if you're actually wanting to feel what's in the body out of balance. But my work is not only the massage. So when you come to me and you have, for example, a pain on the back, we will do the work in the back. We will try to find where is the unbalance that it's causing that pain on the back. And you have what I like to call a home fun exercise. Not homework, because homework,
and
I've
fun.
noticed that people were a bit like, oh, homework, no. So yeah, we don't do
Home
homework
fun. Cool.
anymore. We do home fun. So on the home fun means that from now that you had a session with me until the next time I see you, I will recommend you not lots of stuff, but one or two exercises that most of the times is stretching, but it can be mobility exercises or it can be strengthening exercises. Things, for example, what I've mentioned, brushing your teeth, standing in one foot is one of the home fun top five, let's put it, because it's something that it's easy for people to add to their routine because they already brush their teeth every day. And once they start to feel how the body gets strong so fast, how you gain balance so fast, how your muscles activate much better, they then get hooked into doing things. So every time people come to see me, they will receive a full, body treatment, but they will have the home fun to do at home.
Okay.
Because what I feel is, if you have a pain that took, I don't know, years to develop, you have that chronic thing there, and then you come here and see me once a week or once every 2 weeks, it will take forever for us to actually get somewhere.
You
It,
have to engage in your own help as well.
it needs to be a teamwork.
Mm,
This is what I like to think, you know. So you come to me, you're gonna tell me what you struggle with. We're gonna go through the session, and during the session, I'm gonna identify areas in the body where you could work a little bit more, where you could give a little bit more love. And then you go home and you start to think about these things. You
mm,
become more focused, more aware of your breathing, you know. So the little things that comes in the session, your breathing, the way you're sitting, how much you're moving during the day, um, you know, how can you feel comfortable being in your body. So this is one of the main things that I like to think that you know, my work is empowering people to connect to themselves and see what they really need, but also how can they do something about it, and not always, you know, waiting that you're going to go to a therapist and then they're going to sort the problem. No, it's a teamwork. There's no one can do, there's no magic pill, there's no magic recipe, there's no, everything takes work, everything takes daily good choices, really.
time and attention, isn't it? And you'd be like a supporter or a hands-on supporter and guide and reflector, and to have your expertise and guidance, professionalism to point out ideas to help how people can help themselves. And that's why you go to somebody to get help. That's why you go to anybody to, get a pint of milk. You go there to get what you need from somebody else, but ultimately it's you that does the doing.
Yeah.
And beautiful. And then people might come to your Art of Embrace workshops too. Is it like a whole series of these dance sessions they would come to, or is it one on one, or is it just they would come once, dip in here and there, or how does that work?
So normally the Art of Embrace is a workshop that I offer. It's a one workshop of 3 hours normally. So it's a little
Oh,
bit longer than a normal dance class. And we
mm,
go to the journey again to connect with each other through the touch. At the moment, I'm only offering the Art of Embrace in festivals and retreats. I haven't
okay.
been doing in London, it's been a while because my focus is more in the hands-on work. But it's something that, you know, if people would have interest, would be interested in, maybe, you know, I have this dance group that I've been dancing and I think it would be amazing for us to have something different. I'm open to go and to offer my work as well, and to share a little bit of more of this journey of connecting and hugging each other.
Perfect. And presumably on your website, you say when you're going to retreats and workshops and things, so people can
Yes,
come and join in to these
yes,
dance experiences.
yes, that will be posted there, and
Amazing. So we've come to the top of the hour there, and Juliana, that's been really beautiful, really gentle. I feel like you've taken us on a flowy journey about your world and how it all works, and going into oneself, the journey into yourself. And it's been really lovely to have this. I can see how the gentleness and the subtleness, but how powerful it is. We hold things within. So if anyone would like to get in contact with Juliana, it'll be on connected with this recording on my website, where you'll see all the other podcasts too, if you want to have a look at the other ones and the ones coming up. But do get in contact with Juliana, because if you want that sense of empowerment, if you feel drawn to what Juliana's been talking about, and you know that you need to do that inner work, that inner journey, and most people come to her with pain and don't know what to do. So if you're feeling like that, go and have a chat with Juliana and explore if this would be the right kind of work for you. Um, and um, and and about the dance workshop too. I find that most times people feel drawn to different things. It just feels right to somebody. And Juliana, it's been absolutely a pleasure to host your talk. And I just want to say thank you so much to everybody for joining. And Juliana, would you like to say a parting word or a comment or a tip to leave people to walk away from this talk with, some kind of maybe a saying or a tip or a quote. Do you have something you'd like to close the workshop with?
I think
No
one of
pressure.
I'm unsure about, but one of the things that I think it's strong for me in this closing is feel what you have to feel and sit with it. You know, sometimes we feel things in the body and we don't know how to deal with it. Listening to the body, it's important. So don't try to push away or numb whatever it is that you feel, that it might be, you know, some anxiety, some, and this weather now that the days are so short and we don't have much sun, you know, some depression or some lack of motivation. Sit with all these feelings. Breathe, breathe and feel where you're breathing in your body. And feel, because you know we're all in this healing journey together, even though we are very separate these days. We are all going through the same things, different things, but we're all going through something, you know. So be kind to yourself, and I think treat yourself as if you were your best friend, and give yourself the love that you didn't receive. Give yourself the love that you give to others. I think this is one of the things that for me in my own journey is one of the things that helped me the most, is when I've acknowledged that it was okay to give myself that love. You know, it was okay to choose what's good for me without thinking about everyone else. So enjoy this journey, because we only have this one so far. So
Well, we know. Juliana, that's absolutely beautiful and wonderful words of wisdom. Thank you so much for taking part in the podcast, and thank you so much for everybody for joining today.
thank
Bye.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.